Five, four, three, two, one. I'm John Miglosh with Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. I just polished off a can of Star-Kissed tuna, which brings us to the big news in the tuna business. BumbleBee swats their beloved mascot, Horatio. There's Horatio. And they're going with packaging that, let's scroll down. They're going with packaging that emphasizes the names of the flavors. Jalapeno. It's seafood? I don't know. I think it's just a mix of seafood. This isn't necessarily tuna. Lemon, sesame, ginger, roasted garlic, herbs, sun-dried tomato, basil. Okay, he's getting retired. And as the other article points out, it's because of it's because the 20-year-old bee posted offensive stuff on social media. No, that's not what it was about. And actually, the bee wasn't 120 years old. The company was 120 years old, but whoever wrote this article didn't really look up the history, which I did. Started in 1899 by a bunch of canning plants, 6 of them on the Columbia River in Oregon. And it didn't get called BumbleBee until 1960. So much for that. But anyway, I like the BumbleBee tuna. Actually, I like Star-Kissed. McDonald's cuts the CMO role in the UK. I think that's funny because, 2 years ago or so, it was let's make the CEO, let's make the marketing CMO. Let's make the marketing on the board of directors. And everybody went and did the CMO. And then McDonald's said, oh, we're dumping the CMO. What do they know about making money? And so then a year or two went by, and now they just put a CMO back in place for the global marketing, who was the UK's marketing guy. And then now they're cutting the CMO role in the UK, and they're not going to give anybody in the UK the name CMO. So forget it. Let's just forget it. Okay, save. Okay, here's one that I care near and dear about. High Q urges Supreme Court to stay out of the scraping battle with LinkedIn. The reason I care is because I'm in the middle of scraping LinkedIn. I go through the work to get invitations to connect, and on my emails I say, your email is visible on LinkedIn. That means I might send you an email. And I did that for, 6-7 years, and all of a sudden LinkedIn opted everybody out of it. Just decided to opt them out. Didn't ask anybody, do you want to be opted out of email? But they just decided that everybody would. And so now I have really no good way of getting email, even though it's theoretically downloadable. But worse yet, they never gave me any segmentation capabilities of title or even of zip code or geography, metropolitan area, region, state, country, nothing. So LinkedIn was a disaster. It's always been a disaster. Now that Microsoft owns it, it's worse. I've been talking to the people at Mindfire, and they're like, yeah, you just try to ever talk to anybody. I asked LinkedIn if I could be a streamer, a live streamer. Can you imagine me being a live streamer? I'd learn how to do it. Unlike most of the people who do it, who don't even have a decent microphone. Here's my microphone, right? So, all things considered, I hope LinkedIn never gets to stop the scraping. I use a company in Australia, and if this got decided, I might not get my job finished. I don't know how it's going to come out. I'll keep you posted. I just wanted you to know that. Okay, so now we're over to Slip in Podcast Audience. And it seems to be just a blip. It went down in April, went down in May. I can tell you why. I haven't kept up on my podcast either. I haven't listened to a Joe Rogan in ages. And it's because I don't have a work commute. No, I never had a work commute, but I do go to church, and I drive an hour each way. And so I listen to podcasts. I listen to my Jordan Peterson one, and I listen to Amon Sewell, which is about the Lord of the Rings and how it connects with Orthodoxy. But anyway, my point is is that there isn't a commute for most people, which was 2 hours a day in many cases or more. And that, now I actually work, as we talked about last time. People are working instead. Okay, we're moving on. Gartner identifies top 10 data and analytics technology trends for 2020 and really for beyond. These articles are so terrible that I don't even bother with them mostly. This one's out of Australia by staff writers. One of my favorite staff writers. We should connect on LinkedIn. Anyway, so the first question was, what are we going to do to prepare for the post-pandemic reset? Apple closed its stores in Florida, reclosed them, had opened them because there seems to be a blip. Now, what we need to be looking at is hospitalization and deaths, not the number of cases, because I think we're getting a lot better at not killing people. But that's just my opinion, and because of that, I'm happy to go out and about, and went to the grocery store today and bought more tuna. But by the end of 2024, 75% of organizations will shift from piloting to operationalizing artificial intelligence. Heaven help us. I don't know what these words mean. I really don't. I mean, they keep coming up with words. Piloting to operationalizing. Operationalizing. Does that mean they're going to be using it? Oh, yeah, they're going to be using it. But instead of watching what it's doing, they're just going to let the thing run willy-nilly through the streets. And if you think artificially driven cars are dangerous, try taking your whole company without strategic input and letting the AI optimize it. You don't know what you're going to get. I hate to even think. Now, natural language processing, we can listen to customers' complaints on the phone and decide what they're about, and maybe build a transcript and maybe evaluate the transcript. And they say AI techniques are helping us learn about the spread of the virus. Now, there's a famous Google case you may not have heard of, where about 2014 they claimed that searches for flu symptoms could predict where the flu was happening faster than the CDC's data set could predict it. And it worked for a couple of years. But I think in 2016 what happened was the flu symptoms were taken off and the flu cases weren't. Disconfirmation. And what happened was they found out that the media talking about the flu caused people to have the symptoms of the flu, and Google flu symptoms just to make sure they didn't. So that's the kind of stuff that can happen when you go smarter, faster, and more responsible AI. Unforeseen consequences. The decline of the dashboard. Well, that never should have been a thing, because the dashboard went along with the data mining idea. The idea that we have lots of data, and so we have lots of data, and so we should be able to find something valuable. It doesn't work like that. You have to know what you're looking for. You have to set it up to look for what you're looking for, what you know is valuable. This whole data mining, this whole AI is going to find it. It's going to find the value. It's backwards. You got to tell it what's valuable. That's what the labeled data set is about. And next, we're going to have the analysts practicing decision intelligence. The only problem with that is most analysts don't know much about making decisions. And most decision makers don't wait for the analysts, because on the other hand, what we need is a good one-handed economist. Oh my gosh. Now we've got a new term. Gartner coined a term, X-analytics. And it combed through thousands of research papers, news sources, social media posts, clinical trials to help medical and public health experts predict disease spread, capacity plan, and find treatments and identify vulnerable populations. How did that work? Right? 10,000 dead in New York City because they decided that they could put the positive patients in with the nursing home patients. They got it backwards. Every prediction they made was wrong. Every prediction they made was wrong. The study must have been being worked on in March. Okay, augmented data management. We're going to take this thing and we're going to optimize your company around dynamic systems. I don't know. The cloud. Here, the cloud is a given. The cloud is time sharing. You know, in the 60s, when you never had a PC and you couldn't get at your computer and you couldn't run your programs at the university because the computer was busy, that's what cloud computing is. Cloud computing is you doing computing on someone else's computer. That's all it is. We have a cloud. We own all the computers. They're right here. We move data around. We optimize its use, but we don't have to send it up to Apple or Google or somebody else. Oh my gosh. I think it was 60 Minutes. Somebody did a study and went around to the server farms where this cloud lives. There's a real place. Most of them are in Washington, D.C. You know the first place to get hit with domestic terrorism? It's Washington, D.C. metro area. They're out in the suburbs of Virginia. They're sitting next to shopping malls with basically no security other than a big barbed wire fence and a door that's very well locked. I wish I could make money writing these articles. And there's a summary. If you're a Gartner client, you can read more in this report. Top trends in data analytics. You know who funds Gartner? Big data companies. I'm John Miglash. Have a great day. Like and share. Your friends will think you're smart. Bye-bye.